Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all you traders around the world. I'm Simon from TradeRoomPlus.com, and today I'm hosting a very exciting European-based trade battle where I'm going to be pitching Dirk against Salah, and we're going to figure out who is the best trader. Now, these two gentlemen are allegedly friends, although listening to them in the pre-battle, you wouldn't think that's the case. They are fierce rivals, and they are determined to beat one another. So we're going to speak to these two gentlemen, find out more about their trading, more about their trading style, and then we're going to look at some trades. We're going to be looking at the markets. Obviously, the markets are moving very, very well at the moment. There's lots of volatility, which means there's lots of opportunities across the global markets. Always great times to trade. So good morning, Dirk. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you trade.
Yeah, good morning, Simon, and of course, good afternoon, and of course, almost good night to you. Thanks for having me on again, guys. And yeah, well, just to introduce myself, my name is Dirk Friczewsky. I'm a self-taught trader, long-term trader from the year before 2000, and trading stocks usually and FX. So that's the reason why I have that so-called shortening FX Dirk. If you like to check that out on Twitter, I'll be I think I still have some days to go, but I think I'm almost 10 years or 11 years on Twitter. So a long time, and collected some followers. On top of that, I've got a company here in Germany, based in Wiesbaden, close to Frankfurt, the heart of the euro. And I'm doing a couple of research and trade setups and stuff for them, for institutional clients only, not for private traders. So that's the most important stuff about me. You can check out the website, www.germantrading.de, or you can check out my YouTube channel, Dirk Friczewsky on YouTube, easy to find. And of course, if you like to subscribe, very much appreciated. Thank you.
So more importantly, Dirk, are you going to win today?
Hopefully, yes. I'm always praying to do good stuff. And of course, markets need to deliver you some kind of nice setups. And of course, we will be checking out a couple of currency pairs first. And not to forget, if there is a good entry zone, maybe one or two indices. Let's see what happens.
We'll have a look. Thank you very much for that. And the next gentleman who's going to be doing the trade battle, also from Germany, is Salah.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. Happy to be with you here, guys. Yeah, my name is Salah Bouhmidi. I'm head of markets at IG here for Germany, Austria, Netherlands, and Switzerland. I'm trading more than 14 years. I created my own indicator, the Bouhmidi Bands, an implied volatility approach indicator that might help us today to find some trades in the European session. I mean, we are starting quite well now today. Yeah, and what I do is actually I'm trading, I combine technical analysis with seasonal patterns, quantitative methods that I use to approach my trading. It sounds like rocket science, but it's never been like this. It's really easy. Keep it simple. This is what I want to show you today.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, gentlemen. Right. Are you going to win today then, Salah?
Oh, yeah, it's a tough Friday. I mean, markets are starting.
I want to hear some trader arrogance here. This is all very nice and polite and friendly. I want to say, are you going to crush the opposition or something like that?
This is actually what I want to say. I'm always on the winner side, so I doubt that I will lose today. So this is what you want to hear from you, right?
Yeah. What do you think about that, Dirk? He says
Let's speak always like real traders do. Let's speak about losses. Everything you listen to traders and they always speak about winners. I doubt they are real traders. Real traders speak about losses and about their most crashing stuff. And I think just if you would like to feel better than me, just put yourself into my position. I was an owner of a German defense stock in January, February, and I sold it. And after that, it went up almost 100%. That's a shitty trade setup.
Oh, yeah,
so who in hell could know that there is something like a Rheinmetall mega billion order from the German Republic? Nobody could know that besides the insiders, of course.
Absolutely. Right, I think it's time for us to get on to our first trading challenge today, and that is having a look at the relevant stock market, the indices that you're interested in, and perhaps maybe even taking a trade if there is one as well. Would you like to have a look at some for us first, Salah?
Yeah, okay, we can do that. I can start. I can share my screen with you guys. Just give me 1 second. I want to check the DAX actually. So, can you see my screen?
We can now,
I,
yes, and we
okay,
can see all
perfect.
those squares. Are these your famous bands you were talking about?
Yeah, these are my bands, the Bouhmidi Bands. What I actually typically try to do is if we see, and today we started really good in the DAX, almost 2% higher, 1.7% higher. You know, it's a roller coaster. The last weeks we go up, we go down in almost every market. And this is something what we can use for us for trading. So what I do, I try to find some reversal spots at the upper and lower Bouhmidi band. Today we started with a gap up, and I think this is already a lot of gains that we have created. I think that the DAX will move down, not too much, but we will lose a bit of this momentum. And that's why I directly try to find a new setup and I will trade. Just let me go to the platform. Let me just reshare my screen with you guys. Chrome tab. 8-cap web trader. So what I directly will do is I will set up trades with the DAX, shorting the DAX actually.
Okay.
Oh, what's going on here? Shorting the DAX with a smaller size, starting with a smaller size.
Boom, first trade, we like it.
Yeah. So what I think or what I anticipate is heading down. I mean, we started with a huge gap up, and I think there's room to, yeah, a room to corrugate a bit this move that we have seen in the morning till the next 2 hours, I guess.
Okay, just very briefly, the DAX changed from 30 companies to 40 companies within the past few
hmm
months. Have you noticed any change in behavior or personality of the DAX in that respect?
Actually not. I mean, we have seen that this is a good measurement that DAX was broadened to DAX 40, but it's still, for me, it's still an old-fashioned museum index with classical equities, which might trend now because we see a big rotation from tech to value. Interest rates are We are talking about interest rate hikes in the US, and we will do the same in the European zone in the next time. So we know uh, interest rates interest rate hikes are poison almost for tech, and the German
Hmm.
DAX is not so tech heavy, so it might have a good chance in the next coming months.
Yeah, I think for me as well, somebody looks at the DAX, I've not really noticed any changes in behavior or anything like that. Right, thank you very much for that. Dirk, what European markets are you looking at? You also looking at the DAX?
Well, first of all, I need to say what Salah said is, mostly true. And just
Which bits are wrong?
one thing on top is that I have the opposite way, or that the DAX is a little bit more tanking the next weeks to come, and just because of one reason. We are one of the countries here in the Eurozone and in the European Union 27, just kind of blocking that kind of embargoes right now of Russian gas, because we badly need it. You can't cut off 80 million people which are reliant on energy, and they are sadly reliant on Russian energy. Let's say buttheads here in the German politics the last 15 years badly slept or whatever they did. But they steered it in that direction, that we have a 50%, 55% share of Russian gas we badly need, and we can't cut off from one day to another. It's not working. So it won't be anything like a nice scenario, but just imagine we are thinking about we could something like arrange an energy embargo. What if, let's say, Putin just cut off the energy? What happens? We are truly fucked. That's the thing. And imagine all the kind of energy-related businesses in the German DAX, for example, the auto industry, the chemical industries like the big BASF or Bayer, whatever. They will suffer. So that's just one way of course of looking at it. I hope this won't come through and I'm wrong. Everything would be nice. I can live with that.
Yeah, the dreadful situation we're seeing in Russia, Ukraine does have the potential for huge volatility, and like you say, the potential with the gas and oil at the moment. It's interesting that during even the height of the Cold War, that natural energy was never even cut off then. So whether it will now, who knows? But yeah, I mean, it could happen over a weekend, and we could see the most horrendous gaps up or gaps down. So it all comes back down to sort of risk management. Are you seeing any opportunities on any indices at the moment, looking at that you would be able to trade?
Well, if you check that out, maybe I just see that kind of a chart analysis. You see, maybe I shared the screen. You see the chart.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, so just imagine that is a long-term picture, of course, just to have an impression what was going on the last years. And I mean, you see that so-called COVID-19 crash or COVID-19 mega dip here, and you see that Fibonacci retracement analysis with all these kind of levels, and you see that all the way back up here to that record high of 16,290, right? So you see that there is another Fibonacci analysis from that record high going down to that 12,431.68 here we had the last time. So you see all these kind of additional. You see that moves of the green last time, the pre-COVID high, and you see that green zone here. That's a neckline, and we already came back from that dive here. We already came back into that neckline here, and even scratched the EMA 100 here. So we are definitely here at the back at that 100% level around the 14,800s. So this is a level for the bulls to touch in the bigger picture of a couple of days or in 1 week. And there's the next level to be touched to the downside. That's the old pre-corona crisis high level at 13,795. So just saying it from a longer term perspective, that's where the DAXI or that kind of a crazy index is moving right now. So I don't like to trade her. I always name her, because sometimes the DAX behaves like a bitch. You never know what she's up to. And let's see if that kind of dip into that pre-corona crisis high, really starts. I would buy here. I would buy here in that area, and I would sell in that area from the longer term perspective.
So you're essentially playing quite. I mean, are they daily time frame candles? I can't tell quite those, but it looks like they are. But yeah, so you're playing essentially quite a large sideways range there, and just looking for range trading, either to sell and buy the extremes. Are you more of a trending trader, or are you more of a range bound trader, or does it depend on the market conditions?
The typical stuff I do is the swing trading and position trading, and do the same with single stocks, mostly quality stocks, high liquidity stocks. Like a couple of big German companies and mostly US companies. And that's the market, and the rest of it is currencies. So nothing like rocket science. Keep it simple, like Salah said, it's true. Don't try to rush into too much stuff, and don't try to overload yourself with too many stuff, things like too many indices, too many currency pairs, too many whatever. Just keep it to a couple of, let's say, 3, 4, 5 assets, and that's it.
Okay. So your next challenge, then, Dirk, not the actual challenge number 2, but you need to find a market to trade soon, because you're behind at the moment. It's 1-0 to Salah. Let's talk more to you, Salah, about your trading style, your methodology, and things like that. How do you like trade? What do you trade?
I'm not behind. I opened 2 trades the time you were talking.
You just kept them secret, did you? That was it. Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm a bastard.
We'll come back to you in a moment. I'm going to speak to Salah very quickly about how he trades. Right. I'm going to come back to you and make you explain those trades. I bet they're winning now. That's any reason.
Okay, I actually also keep secret that I pushed a long gold position into this Friday morning, because Friday is I have seasonal patterns, and maybe I can start with this. Gold is a nice. We see a nice seasonal pattern through Friday till Monday. So what I do, I trade often a daily intraday trade on Friday on gold, and this is what I'm participating with today. But my trading style, to make a long story short, is a combination out of technical analysis, statistical approaches, like seasonal patterns, like statistical trading ideas. I will show you an all spread what I do. Brent is much costs much more than WTI. What I do, I'm shorting Brent and I'm going long in WTI, so I'm hedged in the oil market. This is what I show you in a few minutes. And I want to gain some arbitrage because we see in this volatile market that the price between WTI and Brent is changing really volatilely, and I can use, or I can take my profit within this difference. So what I do, I try to check what happened in the past. I'm using correlations and of course technical analysis to find my way, my profitable way in trading.
Excellent. Excellent. Can you show us the gold trade on a chart then and explain what you've done and the reason you've taken that as well, if you're able to?
Just give me 1 second.
That's no problem. I think gold's been a very popular asset at the moment. Gold, of course, traditionally is a bit of a safe haven when there's risk on in the equity market. Traditionally, gold was the place that people do put money. Warren Buffett, famously, not a big fan of gold, but plenty of people out there trading it, as can be seen by the volatility.
Exactly. We maybe we will talk with FX Dirk, of course, about FX trading, because what we have seen is gold is typically a safe haven, but Japanese yen was actually typically also a safe haven, which was not good this moment. We lost actually more than 8% against the US dollar, and Forex commodity currencies are really picking up. The Australian dollar is maybe one favorite that I will show if we have the time. But why I decided to go long in gold, we see on this 5-minute chart here at IG a nice uptrend that is now testing this trend channel at the lower side. I use the RSI, but I don't look only on overbought or oversold. I check whether we are holding this barrier, which is 48.5 for me. If we are above 48.5, I have a bullish tendency based on the RSI. So it's not the only conclusion that I use. And if we are below that, we might see a bearish tendency here. What I see is gold is above. We are still in this trend channel. We see that on 5 minutes, this trend channel is holding. So I think this could be if we can stay in this bullish tendency today on gold. And maybe let's have a look on just 1 second on the Australian dollar. Where's my mouse? Okay. Just give me 1 second.
No problem. It's an interesting way to use the RSI. Traditionally, people just look at the RSI, the 30 and 70 oversold and overbought. So you're taking that midway point as a sort of indication for that pullback there.
Absolutely. Exactly. And this is the case. Actually, I had here, we are in the Australian, in the Aussie, actually, we see a double bottom here. I had already drawn it into the chart, just missed it. And what we see here now, that's why I described it here as a neckline. It's 0.7559. What we see here, we are right now at, and this is a weekly chart. So if we go back into weekly charts, the momentum is much higher than if we look only on a 5 minute. So the strength is much higher if we look on more long-term charts, even if we are in day trading today. But look, we are testing now this neckline, and actually we broke out this week, and now we are going back. This is actually for me a confirmation that we break out, make a pullback, and then heading further to the upper side, which makes sense. I mean, the Aussie is a commodity currency. We see that there's commodities are picking up, and the Aussie has already made some good performance this year, and I think this could lead further to the upper side. So I'm trying to check now on a really short-term basis whether we could have today here a long position. I doubt it. We see, I use also moving averages. All these pullbacks have been short signals in this really short term. What we can see here is, sorry, just one. Heading to the moving average here, short, and today, in this morning, we had already some tests. So even if I'm on long-term basis, long in the Aussie, I think we might struggle today. So that's from my side.
Okay. So I think we're about at this stage where we can look at our second trading challenge. I'm going to flip back to Dirk to have a look at that whilst I read that out. Then we'll come back to you shortly, Salah. So challenge 2 today, once we just go back to you, Dirk, is going to be masterclass: trade an asset that's more advanced than beginner level. So we'd see these, we see the volumes that a lot of new retail traders trade. They often focus on the obvious indices, the big currency pairs, perhaps like that. So is there anything out there that you see an opportunity on that might be something that's traded a bit less frequency or might be a little bit trickier to trade?
Yeah, well, as I said before, I'm something like a little bastard. I just tried to combine the challenge 2 or 3 already. So I looked at an asset that is more advanced than beginner level, and as I placed a trade. I placed 3 trades actually. They are in the red, of course. No kind of a trade is absolutely in the green after one or 2 seconds. So that's a couple of setups for the next days to come. So and especially if you name it for example for 5 days, so it's approximately into almost the next full week. So version number 1, being short one of the major European indices, not to skip that stuff like the DAX, but I simply concentrated at the Euro stocks the last weeks, and so I picked that one. It's a short trade, same setup like Salah.
You able to show the analysis as well?
You're
able to show the charts? You're able to show the charts as well? The analysis for these 3 trades? Take time.
No, I don't have live analysis for that stuff. I prepared it from yesterday.
Oh, you just got them on it. You just got them on MetaTrader at the moment.
Right.
Okay, that's no problem. Talk us through the rest then.
The second one is I opened was a trade on the Euro NOK that might somehow surprise, because it's a Euro NOK long and not a Euro NOK short, as everybody would think about because of the rate differentials and the coming rate differentials. So the Norges Bank, there's one story right now. The last days and the last full week on the average, if you just check out the WTI and Brent prices, they keep on falling just because of that state reserve deal and International Energy Administration state reserves deal. So they pushed all these kind of barrels onto the market, and that put on some relief on the price. So the price is tanking. And that means less income for Norway on the one side. It might sound a little bit too wishy-washy or whatever. The second story is behind that Euro NOK is that the Norges Bank, so the central bank, was told by the Norwegian government to sell the Norwegian krone because it got too strong, and because of they need more money to diversify in other currencies. Into their oil fund, into their state fund, which is actually the biggest state fund of the world. So that's a matter. And the third stuff here is just a relief in the euro, because the territories we already reached, we are close to that 108.06 level, and that could be something like a second step in. And to have a move back into 109.50s and 110 again, just because of a relief in the oversold territory from the euro versus the dollar.
Right. Thank you very much. I guess once we've been to Salah, we'll have a look at the scores after that. So Salah, just please explain. Same challenge to you, my friend. Trade an asset that's more advanced than beginner level. And if you've got any analysis and charts, that'd be fantastic.
Yes, let's have a look on the alt spread that I mentioned before. We don't need charts for it. We just need, or actually we should have a chart. If we look on the spread between WTI and Brent, so this is the difference between those 2 prices. If we look in the past, what we can see is there is a time where you always see almost a constant difference, which makes sense. So actually we could ask, why is one of those both oil prices, crude oil prices, cheaper or expensive than the other? There are there are reasons why, because technically, physically, the crude oil is not always laying really nice next to the surface, so you need to go into deep water, for example in Brent. That's why there is a difference in prices. But I see there is a difference, and if this difference is getting huge, bigger or smaller, then there is something happening in this market. Of course, now this geopolitical stuff is bringing volatility into the market, but especially into the oil market. So what I will do is, we see that this spread between Brent and WTI is now, we see Brent is at 103, WTI at 97. So this is a huge spread. What I do is I place a trade. I'm shorting the Brent crude oil, and simultaneously I go long in WTI. So what I did is now hedging myself in the crude oil market, because I'm long and short, but I'm trying to cash out this difference that we see. So if this difference is broadening, or otherwise said, if WTI is getting more and more to the $100 area, and Brent will not move, or either comes closer to the $100, so this would be exactly the way I would profit. Now we can see that I'm on WTI, I'm almost a little bit in profit, Brent a little bit in the minus. So what I will have to underline for everybody, there will be always a position in loss and one in profit. What my idea is that the profit will be higher than the loss, and I will take the difference as my profit. So this is actually the trade that I'm showing now. We are coming more and more to the ideal position that I mentioned. The loss is getting smaller and smaller. You see here. So if I will take a control now on this, because it's a day trade for me, if I get the profit, not directly, if I see a nice profit difference, then I will close the position.
Excellent, thank you very much. I see you've gone big on gold. You're confident on gold.
Yeah, exactly, because this will be also my trade for the next 5 days. I'm not a friend. I told you this in the first trading battle. I'm not a friend who's taking positions into the weekend. If there is if I need to, like in our next part, I take a trade for 5 days, I usually tend to stay long then in gold rather than in other markets, because the uncertainty is now high, and I can always think about something is happening in the weekend which is more bearish than bullish, and could help support gold prices.
Thank you. I'm fascinated by that picture you've got behind you. It's not in parallel. It's really messy with my OCD.
Yeah, exactly. And this is
like
an anecdote.
Square in the wrong way.
It's no, but I actually did it like this a bit. Simon says a really good thing. Markets are actually parallel to markets. It's always up to you how you see the chances and the ideas, especially if you are using technical analysis.
I like that. Have your background represent that. Right. Can we get a quick update on the scores, please? And have a look at the scoreboard if it's available, and we'll see where we are. Of course, it is very much early days at the moment. We've got Salah's got slightly more trades on, gone quite big on the gold. The DAX is just sort of around that break-even point. And of course, you've got that spread trade as well. Dirk currently has those trades you described: the Euro NOK, the Euro Dollar, and also the US. EU ST50 is what I'm talking about. So plenty of time for these trades to play out. Like any trader will know, not every, as Dirk pointed out earlier, we've got plenty of time for these trades to play out. Not every trade instantly goes to be a winner. They tend to oscillate and move around, and that's just part and parcel of trading. You have to be able to deal with those types of scenarios. And before we moved on to our third challenge, then, just very quickly, give me one top tip. Start with you, Dirk. One top tip for the traders out there of how you think they could be a better trader, either sort of something they should do or something they should stop doing.
Should I start? Okay. One of the, let's say, most important things I taught myself, and I heard a lot of times from a lot of traders as well, is trading is something from the definition of acting, of doing something. But you could be trading just in case you are not doing anything, sitting on your hands, not touching your keyboard, not placing, not being able to place. So you are actively passive. You are waiting. You are observing the market, and possibly you let some good setups and the market come into your direction. That is the best trade of your life, because you don't rush into something. Most important is just to be calm, to calm down, and just to talk to yourself, to your own psychology, and to have something like a strategy to calm yourself down all day long, because you're always fighting against yourself and not against the market. It's all about not being a psycho. And if you just try to do something like revenge trades, the moment you open some kind of a revenge trade, you're already fucked up. So mostly that is the right issue.
Yeah, I think you touched on two issues there. I mean, you speak about doing nothing is doing something. I mean, in most walks of life, in most jobs, we're rewarded for doing something, whereas trading, often doing nothing is the best thing. Again, to quote Warren Buffett, I think he said, the art of investing is transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. So it sort of touches on that. And of course, the psychology, if you're revenge trading and things like that, it's just an absolute road to disaster. So I think they're two very, very good points that, traders do need to learn. Salah, then, if you could have maybe a point or two about things that you think traders should or shouldn't do that would help them out there.
Maybe let's start with what traders should do. And this is an experience that I made by myself. Lock in your profits. What I want to mean is use trailing stops. If you are ahead, if your position is running into your favor, so why you are not putting your stop into profit? So lock in your profits, because we know from psychology, there are studies, there's a lot of content around there, which is showing, of course, like Kahneman told us, people are they run their losses, but they close their profits really, really, really fast. And this is actually ending up in being not profitable. And that's why, to make it really short, lock in your profits, use trailing stops from the hand to your mouth, take your money with you, and don't speculate like, don't be overconfident. We know that if you give me 1, 2, 3 trades, now my trades are not so profitable in the first run now, but if you are feeling like you are the man, then there might be a mistake, and you need to think about or think about your behavior.
Yeah, you see, you essentially talking about people being greedy.
I could put that in addition, because Salah made that quite clear. From the kind of technology, we have so many possibilities today.
Right.
We got platforms, high definition platforms. We got the abilities just to move a couple of stop losses in our different positions, and just to use the technology to cut off our own psychology, our own problems. So that's the issue every trader should think about. Using the technology as a friend, the platform as a friend, helping me out and giving me something like a possibility to log in a profit zone, and not that's it's a case I'm coming back from pouring a coffee and I'm looking into a deep hole of losses. So that would be a tragedy. And the other way around, of course, you could also do that. I do that quite often. Just take the money off the table, the chips off the table, just half of it, and let the other half of the position just run. And that's something like a free trade in case you just move the stop loss onto your entry zone, onto your entry level, or BE you call it. So that's one possibility on top of that. Yes.
Totally.
Yes, I think Salah is saying just to greed can take over and overconfidence. Interesting, you're obviously well read. You mentioned Daniel Kahneman there. His book Thinking Fast and Slow is very much recommended to people out there if you really want to drill in your psychology, the father of behavioral economics. Or you could just Google loss aversion if you want to have a look at Wikipedia, but that's what Salah's talking about there, our natural tendencies to make, how we're not built necessarily to trade, and we're there to make the wrong decision. So I think, yeah, some great tips there, guys. Very, very practical, very, very much the sort of thing that I would sort of agree with as well. Right then, I think it's probably time now for our third and final challenge. We're going to start off with you first, Dirk. The challenge is place a trade for the next 5 days, a sort of trade that you anticipate lasting the rest of the week, a trade that you anticipate holding over the weekend, and then closing out next week when we see who is the winner of today's battle.
Yes, as I see, been stopped out in one trade setup already.
So it's definitely not that one then.
No, maybe it's just too small. So however, it didn't work well. But that's the reason you use your stop loss, that you're not going into deep down the river. So the most important thing about placing a trade for the next 5 days would be something interesting in the direction Salah mentioned. We have a let's say dramatic move in the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. That is running all the last weeks. Of course, there's a reason for that. And you could choose, for example, just type in that US dollar versus the yen. Maybe I just find it. I didn't put that in here. All right. So we right now am hovering around that 124 markers. And just to open that chart, just to have a view on that one here at the MetaTrader platform in the longer term, you see that that's a 1 hour chart. And if you just check that out on a daily, for example, and just move that to the daily here, you see that the rate differentials play a fat role, a major role in that kind of currency pair. What is happening? It's not loading. I had the last time that maybe it's a long line to Australia. That's the typical stuff.
Technology is letting us down.
What the heck? What the heck is going on? Come on.
It doesn't like you. So what position? When your technology is working, what are you looking to do?
However, I just type in that JPY maybe here. So I just show you that one here. It's maybe
there we go.
A little bit faster. And just to give you some kind of, let's say, levels, I just think about in the longer term. Jesus, I opened too much stuff. So there you go. There you go. And the Japanese yen has the problem. The Japanese guys are crying because they have no real interest rates. They have no interest rates in the positive territory. They still have negative interest rates. So the Bank of Japan placed that one at minus 0.10. So that's a tragedy. And as you already know, the Federal Reserve is hiking and steps on hiking and slams the gas in direction 50 basis points the next May meeting. So that, of course, sounds like it must be all the way up and more the way up. But of course, if you just check out the territories from one week to another, it might be something like oscillators like the RSI, relative strength, telling you a little bit more of that, giving you some kind of a hint that this kind of a market is dramatically overbought. And it's again overbought in this direction here. It has been dramatically more even overbought in that kind of direction here. And you see there was a big relief to the downside as a technical reaction. We are moving into that way overbought territory again, and it's a long time until the May meeting of the Federal Reserve. So that is just a little bit of a relief into that currency pair here as well. So just name it like a so-called fading strategy. I'm trying to fade that kind of a needle to the upside. It sounds dangerous. From time to time, you can be getting a heavy slap from the market. That's true. But some kind of a first step into that currency pair to the downside as well could be something like most rewarding the next 3 to 5 days, especially when it comes to a market dip again. So mostly when a market dip occurs, the Japanese yen is getting stronger because of repatriation flows. So that's the only reason I'm talking about that US dollar versus the Japanese yen.
So you're looking to fade and short dollar yen then. That's your trade over the next 5 days. All right. Well, thank you very much. Salah, same challenge to you. Place a trade for the next 5 days, even though you said you didn't like holding over weekends. Tough. You're going to have to here. So
Exactly.
what are you looking at?
That's why I'm looking on gold, and I will hold this position in gold for the next 5 days because of the circumstances that we are in now. And let me just show you something about the Bouhmidi bands, because we are now testing exactly the upper Bouhmidi band. This is what I estimated before, what was my favor. And I think that we will now reverse down a bit in the next coming hours. That's why the position that we had is also getting into profit. Can you see my screen?
Yep, that's your DAX trade from earlier.
Exactly. It's now getting more and more into profit because we are heading to this implied volatility resistance. And we see a lot of times that we see a reversal there. I was a bit too early because we already started and I'm a trader. I don't want to let you audience just looking on charts without doing anything. So that's why I was a bit early, but I expected that we go short in a while. And this is what's happening right now. I might think that we will reverse a bit down, mostly 30, 45, 50 points in the DAX. Yeah, gold, this is the position that I will hold on. I will set a stop here as well at the end. And our WTI crude oil spread will be closed in a few minutes if we will not hand over to profitable difference, because I can't use this spread without checking the market, because if I don't have stops, or if I use stops in my spread trading, this could be really ugly, because it could be stopping me out in both sides, and then I would have a double loss. So if the spread difference is not profitable before I close my trading book today, I will close and take the losses with me. And this is what we already mentioned. Realize your profits, but realize also your losses, which is really important.
Yeah, so that's the sort of trade you'd want to keep an eye on, because you're obviously with the spread trade not running stop losses, so it's something you'll need to keep an eye on. That's excellent. Just with your gold, then, just briefly, as we're coming sort of heading towards the close, where would you think your profit targets may be over this 5 day, or is it just a case of having a look at where the price action may be and making a judgment on a case by case basis, or do you sort of use some sort of tools to figure out where your profit target will be?
Yeah, 9050 is definitely a target that I'm interested in. This is now a 5-minute chart. Why? Because if we're heading above, let me see, go on a daily. This is actually the resistance of this trading range. I love to trade trading ranges. Why? Because trading ranges can give you, it's a good, I started as a beginner. I started with trading ranges. Why? I can use the trading range and create some price targets. If I use the height of the range and I project it at the upper side, you can see that the maximal profit will be, or the maximal target for the short term would be 90.87 in gold. And I think that we will at least will test again this 9050 area, 1950
Okay.
US dollar, rather than to pull back and go long, or getting back into this range. You can, if we look on silver, for example, just give me 1 second on a weekly
Still
basis.
just showing us. You're still just showing us a DAX at the moment.
Sorry,
Just
sorry.
yeah, it's no problem. I think we got the gist of it. I'm going to ask you as we start heading towards the close about, so everyone who may be watching the trade battle today. We the guests are trading for charity. The winner gets to donate to a charity of choice, very kindly provided by 8cap, the broker sponsor today. Salah, which charity are you trading for today?
I'm trading for Kindertal, which is a children charity that's helping in my hometown Wuppertal, where I'm from. They help children in education, in some other charity stuff. So they are really supporting children from all different cultures, Germans or migrates, especially now Ukraine is a topic. So I think this would be a really helpful charity for children the next time if I win.
That does sound a very good charity. Dirk, which charity are you trading for today, please, sir?
That's a Stiftung Bernherz, which is an agency, a company here supporting little children, mostly dealing with severe diseases like cancer, and yeah, that's based here in my hometown in Wiesbaden.
Okay, they do sound both very worthwhile causes. So I wish you the best of luck raising plenty of money for those. Let's take as much money from the broker as possible to try and improve some children's lives. That would be absolutely fantastic. Can we have another look at the scores and just stay where we are at the moment before we sort of head into this daily close and look over this weekend? Okay, so at the moment, still quite near our entries on a lot of these trades. Both of you gentlemen have 4 trades on each. Dirk has his USD JPY, is EU ST50, the Euro Dollar, and the Euro NOK as well. And Salah, you have your gold and the other ones that are just slightly off screen that I can't remember. But it's going to be interesting. We have the spread trade on the oil trades, we have the gold, and we also have the DAX.
Closed.
There we go.
Already closed.
Which one's already closed?
Look, have a look.
Oh,
all 3.
Oh, I see. Right. Oh, they're already closed. Yeah, that eluded me. So you're going to have to hope your euro yen trade is the one that's going to help you out over this weekend. That's interesting. I think Salah, your gold is going to make or break you. Probably if gold
Exactly.
If gold has a wonderful move up over these coming days, then it's going to be quids in for your charity. So yeah, certainly some interesting positions, interesting things like that. Any quick comments at the end of the stream, gentlemen? Salah, you first.
Yeah, if you want to get more inspiration from my trading style, I can recommend you just visit me on Twitter at Salah Bouhmidi. I'm twittering all the day around with my updates. I have a German live stream in German, unfortunately, but markets are numbers and not languages, so which I do on every day, where I show my trades. Yeah, this is what I want to share with you guys.
All right, thank you. And the same to you, Dirk. Final thoughts until.
Final thoughts. One thing about the US dollar versus the yen again. Don't want to interrupt you with too many details. There's some kind of specifics dealing to Forex as well, especially when it comes to the Friday expiries at the New York time. So you got to check out, possibly, in addition to CFTC data, in addition to the technicals, into the addition of all sentiment data you get and grab somewhere, and in addition on fundamentals and stories, you might check out the Forex orders as well. So it might be interesting to see what kind of options are about to expire. Are they heavy? Are they kind of high explosive levels of millions or even billions of US dollars? Then might be something like a MAGA. The market drags up to that or tries to stay and avoid that, to touch that barrier, just to keep a couple of money into the back of some big guys. So that's sometimes it's kind of an additional tool to use, and we got a couple of, let's say, 400 to 600, so almost 1 billion, above 1 billion. It sounds less, but it's sometimes enough to drag the market up in the US dollar versus the Japanese yen as barriers. So just to add that.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Some of the trades have been very interesting. Your analysis, some of the tips and hints that you've given everyone have been very useful for the traders out there. So we'll see how these trades evolve over the coming days, and we'll see who wins the trading battle next week. So thank you all for joining us. Do make sure you subscribe to the relevant platform, YouTube or whatever it is, because there'll be more trading battles, more tips and hints that are coming. But for now, we'll wish you farewell, and we'll hope you stay safe, and we'll hope your trading stays safe in this volatility as well. So goodbye for now.
Thank you, Simon.